Hello, hello. So let's see what's going on in the world today. Making my way. Why are black voters backing Donald Trump in record numbers? I'm not sure, but I will say that Donald Trump has exposed a lot of corruption in our political system. For America's supposed to have three different branches of government in order to sort of suppress each other so that we don't have a centralized power. But it seems to be that our political parties have gained so much control and influence that they cross uh, those divisions to the point where they have centralized power, where they can use the judges, the politicians can use the judges to now go after someone. Like they literally created a new law just to allow a woman to sue Trump in court. And when he refute her claim, they called that defamation and they added it to the suit. Like that is insane. That is insane levels of corruption. Like you can hate Trump's politics all you want, but the one thing I could say about him is that the man can't be subtle to save his life. He's incapable of subtlety and pretty much hiding his motivations. Everything he does is in the open. And he's a politician that is terrible at being a politician, which is reassuring for a lot of people because it's starting to look like conspiracy theorists might be correct in assuming there's some sort of Illuminati or whatever, because the things that they're doing to Trump is literally in our face. Imagine the things that they're doing behind closed doors, right? This manhunt against Trump is just, it's kind of unhinged because our justice system is supposed to be that for justice, but they have weaponized it against their their adversaries. If you can weaponize our justice system, then it's no longer for justice; it's for power and control, right? It, it's it's mind-boggling that people don't see the danger in what's going on. I would want Trump to win just to be able to fix that because that's crazy. That's just that's unnerving, man. He was famously called the former white supremacist in chief by Democratic Congresswoman Cori Bush. Okay. Uh, Hillary Clinton called him ignorant and racist. Okay. I mean, he calls people names all the time, so it's fair. After he reportedly made highly derogatory comments about Haiti and African countries. Okay. If he said it about the French, would it would have been better? It's like, well, there's a hell of a lot of white people in French, so he's not racist. Even Republican Nikki Haley, who reportedly dropped out of the race for a presidential nomination, called recent comments Trump made about African Americans disgusting. She's really trying to get that block vote, huh? Um, I don't think Trump is racist, man. I, I, I've lived in New York for a long time, and he acts like a New Yorker, like especially exactly how you would think a rich New Yorker would act. That's how Trump acts. Like, but despite all this, and as the US prepares for a likely rematch between him and President Joe Biden in 2024 presidential election later this year, polls show that Donald Trump is only growing in popularity among Black American voters. It's probably mostly Black American male voters. So I think the ladies are still firmly Democrat. Why is that, and how difference can it make? What did the polls say? In 2016, Trump received 8% of the black vote, according to exit polls, the highest level of support by black voters for any Republican since George Bush in 2000. By 2020 U.S. presidential election, support for Trump among black voters have surged to 12%. And while current opinion polls vary, a recent survey by Jen Forward shows that if the elections were to be held, 17% of black voters would vote for Donald Trump, while 20% said they would vote for someone other than Trump or Biden. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it has to be the black male votes because the black females are still very democratic, and they're still very much against Trump. The black voting bloc is unique in the US. Currently, it is the only group of voters which has consistently identified with the Democratic Party, reaching 77% of the black voters in favor of Democrats in 2020. Um, it's a lot because the Democratic Party tend to uh, uh, um, they tend to cater to the black community. It's kind of like courting. You know, you make a bunch of promises and then you deliver on and one or two that don't make that much of a difference. Like you make promises to, make changes, create jobs for all these people, do all of that. And then what are you going to do? You're going to make a social change that's purely cosmetic, and then they're going to think you're on their side. And then all your other promises, whatever, and you get their vote. And that's pretty much how they court the female vote and the black vote. And pretty much any minority as well, they're going to do the same thing. By comparison, 42% of white Americans, white voters, and 63% of Latino voters identify as Democrats. All right. Now, however, only 63% of black voters, an all-time low since Jen Ford started collecting data. Yep. These numbers could spell trouble for Democrats in November's presidential election, especially in swing states. All right. What is the history of black vote? Well, I don't need to know all of that. Uh, Democrats would continue peeling away voters from the Republican Party, blah, blah, blah. It does a whole history lesson. Furthermore, okay. Net Democratic Lean Party ID, race, ethnicity. Okay. Okay, so the blue line is non-Hispanic white adults. Okay, so non-Hispanic whites, non-Hispanic black adults. Why is it identified by Hispanic? How Hispanic are you? I'm blue, red, and dotted. Hispanic adults. Okay, so percentage of non who identify as Democrats. Okay, so the red line, the non-Hispanic black adults is freaking high as shit, and it's gone down. All right, and the Hispanics started pretty low, went up, and then they went right down. So every one of them has reached a new low that they've never been before. Okay, and then the whites have been low. Oh wow. How has this changed? A Gallup poll last year showed that the proportions of black adults in the US who considered themselves Democrats had decreased from 77% in 2020 to 66%. Today's black voters operate a bit more independently from previous generations, especially young black voters. Yeah, I would say independent as well. Um, it's for me, I don't know. As far as political parties, I don't really trust any of them because they all have their agendas and they all kind of play the same game. But I would have leaned more Democrat simply because I'm an atheist, and the Republican Party is just heavily religious. And I don't have a problem with that, but I just don't want policies based on religion that I don't follow. Like it's just like it's heavily restrictive, and I don't want to follow that kind of stuff. But as far as values, I would think the Republican Party has more values, whereas the Democratic Party is just like whatever, whatever benefits us kind of thing. So they were just aligned with whatever benefits them. If the hot topic today is gender ideology, the Democratic Party is for it. If the hot topic, whatever it is if it's legalized marijuana, they're all for it. So it's just like they're kind of mercenary and they're just like very conforming, which is something I just don't trust. You can't trust somebody that doesn't stand on anything. So, but because I don't trust either party, I'm just going to be independent. I just can't really settle on one. But I think nowadays it's starting to as more things have developed, it's starting to seem like the Republican Party is a little bit more trustworthy, but still they still do some shady stuff. But anyways, until next time.